More from my brother later on in the program. But right now, of course, we got some guests here in the studio. And, no strangers to the shrine at all. They always come through rep, in different capacities. But today we're going to be dealing with the subject matter of renewable energy and also, how it's going to play a part in our future development as a community, on many different fronts, whether it be financially, politically, sustainably, however you want to look at it. So without further ado, I want to welcome my guest, my brother John Christmas here in the house representing the one and only Biodiesel's Racing Alliance, and my brother Purple Crown, aka Taj, representing the Suns. High resonant music in the building. What's going on with y'all today?
What's going on, brother Tanisio?
What's up, fourth world?
Yes, indeed. Pleasure to have y'all here, man.
Sir.
Pleasure to have y'all here. And today's going to be a very exciting day because, as I mentioned, I've had y'all here many a times on different occasions, but it's interesting how over the years of now having this show, the more and more I start to deal with people individually, eventually we all start getting into the same room behind the mic at the same time.
That's right.
Even my brother Michael, he in the back chilling, you know what I'm saying? He came here for one reason and now we all in the room together.
That's what it's all about.
So it's exactly, it's that synchronicity coming together, man. It's beautiful indeed. But man, a lot of work has been going on, of course, not necessarily behind the scenes, but to some of the WRFG listeners who haven't been familiar with your individual works, I want y'all to just kind of give a brief bio real quick, who haven't been able to follow y'all. Starting with you, my brother, right here, John Christmas.
Thank you so much, brother Tanisio. Shouts out to everybody. I'm John Christmas, entertainment and sports attorney. Most folks have known over for about maybe 13, 14 years, but I serve as the attorney and chairman of the Biofuels Racing Alliance. Shout out Ken Christmas, shout out Greg Christmas, shout out 5-0, everybody, man, representing the BFRA, and also Mike Hill, man, representing Iconic Industries. Had to shout out everybody because there's so many folks involved in the movement, Tanisio, you know what I mean? And so a lot of times when we talk about this, it's like, we're talking about, for everybody that's out there listening, we're talking about renewable energy and recycling and what that means to the world. And so the Biofuels Racing Alliance is a competitive racing organization that showcases the power and performance capabilities of automobiles, trucks, and motorcycles that use alternative fuels. What does that mean? We take waste to make fuel out of it. We take used cooking oil to make fuel out of it. You know what I'm saying? So we here with my man Taj, and I can't say no more because we just so excited to be up in here. So Taj, tear him up,
Okay. All right. Yeah, well, my name is Taj, and I'm representing the Suns, formerly known as Motown recording artist, The Boys. We do a lot of music, a lot of production, for a lot of different artists, as well as ourselves. We do a lot of work in Africa. My brother Hakeem is over in Senegal right now working on Youssou N'Dour's new album and Vivian N'Dour's album. We got a few projects about to come out, on Convict label and with American Yard. And, really we're just all about raising consciousness and awareness, in holistic health and well-being all around the board, whether it's on a personal level with your personal self or on a planetary scale as well, which is what links John and myself together, because our work is the same, and we do it through the sonics, through the music, and really encoding the message in the high resonance music, And so I'm representing Planet Restoration. That's our organization, which is all about really boosting the awareness about sustainable culture, contemporary and indigenous arts and sciences, and being good stewards of the planet.
Indeed. Well, definitely a pleasure to have both of you brothers here. And we're going to deal more with that synchronicity, this tying your works together here later on in this interview, because I think a lot of people are going to definitely be excited to see the level of involvement, that the urban contemporary art forms are starting to have and tie into, the works that people such as yourself, John, have been doing. And of course, you're tied to the art form as well, too, being an entertainment lawyer. So, just starting off, let's look at, what of course is current and up to date on the table. We've had you on the show many a time. You've talked about the works that the Racing Alliance does. And maybe just to kind of give people a brief overview, of some of the things that have been happening politically. We know that the Energy and Policy Act of 2005 was signed into effect. We have the Energy Independence and Security Act of 2007.
Yes, sir.
We have the, let's see what else we got here. I'm reading off a list, y'all. So much things. The Energy Improvement and Extension Act of 2008. and the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act that has recently been signed in '09. You know, all of these things outline the benefits and incentives of biodiesel and renewable energy production.
That's right.
But as a result of this, your company, or your organization, shall I say, Biofuels Racing Alliance, has been educating residents of the community, you know, whether they be urban, rural, and tribal communities, even in other areas throughout the world.
That's right.
How have these activities been being received, you know, by these communities so far? Because these are communities people don't normally think about when dealing with this subject matter of renewable energy.
It's been incredible, Tenicio, to say the least. I mean, just recently, just a couple of weeks ago, Biofuels Racing Alliance, South Fulton Chamber of Commerce, Atlanta Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce just took the mayor of East Point, the city manager of East Point, and Public Works Director Roswell, took a whole boatload of folks, you know, by boat, not by boat necessarily, but by bus, over to Hoover, Alabama. And over in Hoover, Alabama, y'all, you know, Hoover, Alabama is energy independent. They make their fuel for their police cars from yard waste. They make ethanol for the police cars from yard waste. For the diesel equipment, you know, garbage trucks, heavy duty, you know, buses and things like that, they use cooking oil. Now I know that may sound strange to some of the listeners out there, but everything that you heard as Tenicio, you know, ran down is actually, these are federal laws and mandates and incentives to do this. And so many instances you can make fuel for less than $1. And that's real, you know, like that. And so a lot of times, you know, these discussions, it sounds really, really legal. You know, it's an incredible, you know, partnership relationship with Purple Crown. Like I said, I mean, in the studio, it's like, it's just incredibly blessed today to be, of course, always at home at WRFG, you know, like that, who really puts the information to the community that can be used. And so what now, we're just using the vessel, of course, in the spirit of the drum out here, man, on the shrine. It's like, you know, to sit here and talk about what hip hop and high resonating music is going to do to also, you know, perpetuating the knowledge, you know, among our folks, so folks can go to work. You don't need to march for green jobs. Green jobs are in our community. Wouldn't you say, Todd?
Absolutely.
Indeed,
Absolutely.
indeed. And you know, a lot of these opportunities, of course, are being made available, but sometimes the vernacular that's used to describe it, you know, are idioms that may be going over people's head, even just like with the healthcare debate.
For real.
If you're not in it, you know, stuff will just be flying by you and you really may not know how to pick it up. One area that I want to make sure people are clear on, because once we get into the discussion about the music, you know, we know even some of these same terms and things are mentioned in the music. We want to know what people are really hearing when it goes through their ears.
Yeah.
Talk about the terms relative to consumer waste, whether it be pre-consumer waste, post-consumer waste, and tell us what the differences are.
Yes, sir. You know, everybody's heard the term that, you know, the United States, or heard the descriptions and stats that the United States is about 5% of the world's population, but we consume about 25% of its resources. Okay, nice stat, okay? But the real deal is that we waste a lot of stuff. We put stuff in the landfills that never should even be going, you know, into the landfills in the first place. So folks have heard the term reduce, reuse, recycle, and folks say, what does that mean to me? And so, you know, recycling in our community, you know, I grew up in a big family in Mississippi. And, you know, I had older brothers. So one of the things that made recycling simple to me was that, you know, my older brother would be wearing some pants. So I'd be like, hey, man, don't mess my pants up. You know, those are mine. You know what I'm saying? That's mine.
Familiar, Taj.
You know what I'm saying?
For real, I know about that.
And so, you know, that's one thing. You know, another thing is that recycling. Every time you go out and, like, you change brake pads or get a starter or alternator like that, and you go to AutoZone, a place like that, they charge you a core charge. You know what I'm saying? That's recycling, you know? And it's like in the homeless population, people see the homeless picking up cans, but guess what? Aluminum, you know what I'm saying, is a metal. Just like we talk about precious metals like gold, you know, silver and copper, guess what? Aluminum, all of this stuff, you know what I'm saying, are metals that there's another use for. And so everything here on the planet doesn't have just one use, it has multiple uses. So when people are talking about recycling, what we're really talking about doing is not being wasteful. And everybody can understand that. Mom and grandmom and dad and granddaddy taught us that, you know what I mean? And so what we're talking about post-consumer waste, you take something that may have been one thing and then you make something else out of it. You can take a plastic bottle and you can make plastic shirts out of it. And plastic you see all the time, shoes, hats, all this stuff is done all the time. The equipment to do this stuff ain't nearly expensive as what people think. And we even use the grease phenomenon. It's like, you know, George Washington Carver and it showed, of course, that the diesel engine was designed to run off of vegetable oil. And so you can take the greases on everybody's stove and make a fuel out of it. That's recycling, you know what I mean? So all the stuff that people are hearing about, green jobs and renewable energy and recycling, it's got everything to do with what you do every day. And it's huge opportunities out there.
Indeed, indeed. And even